Hi, welcome in. I'm just gonna go fill this with tea. Or no, I'm not. I'm just gonna drink water. Okay, I am a little scatterbrained. I just spent a bunch of time trying to figure out taxes for my LLC. Yeah, that's how we feel about it. I've called so many different IRS groupings of people, and they're like pointing to every other person, being like, talk to them, talk to them. I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. It's part of figuring it out. Thank you, Saturn. Okay, you guys. Today we're going to be working on the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a really important part of our body because it's a nerve that wraps around almost every organ in our body, and it starts in kind of like right behind our ears and flows down and wraps around all of our organs. It is related to our ability to relax and receive and digest. So if you have experienced something early on in your life where you were forced to fight, flight, or freeze, often that patterning can still be stuck. That energy, that pattern can still be stuck in the vagus nerve, so that it often reverts to the same process. So if you hear about people who are victims of violence tend to be more victimized for violence. They find themselves in those situations more and more. A lot of that has to do with the way our energy is programmed, living in that huge nerve. So if we can relax this nerve, we are essentially giving more space and flexibility to all the inner workings within our body. When you live in a state of stress for so long, also, this just can be like it doesn't have to be an acute situation. But if you're constantly engaged with stress, then your vagus nerve loses its tone, loses its flexibility. So it won't be able to help you down regulate as quickly. We want to be able to switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic quickly, right? It's called resilience. But a lot of the times we get stuck up here in fight, flight, or freeze. So our body is like in this stuck part of our nervous system being like, where's the next threat? What should I be stressed out? It's too peaceful. I should start drama in my life. Like, that's a biological mechanism. So when we engage the energetics of it, we are simply offering coherent, stronger vibration so that this part of your body can retune itself. Right? So if there's static in the body, it'll sound like woo, like kind of crazy, out of balance, out of tune. And so that's what we're doing in these sessions, is we're adding coherence. We're adding flexibility, space. We are reprogramming that part of our body that's telling us to stay stuck in this sympathetic nervous system state. I feel like, yes, it's so perfect that I was trying to deal with IRS tax stuff. By the way, if anyone has any recommendations for me, drop it in the comment. To be working on this, because I very easily get stressed out about stuff that I do not understand. I do not understand this. So working on the vagus nerve will really help me. And I got inspired today because the client that I worked on before this, we worked almost a whole session on her vagus nerve, and it was really dense. So be prepared to need a nap. Be prepared to drink a lot of water. Hi, Bailey. Hi, Alex. Hi, Caroline. Happy Sunday. Yeah, indeed. This is really hurting my head. Sorry, I'm not as prepared as I thought you know how it goes. Let's see if I can fix my hair just one more time. Sorry, everyone. Fuck. It's all part of the process, right? Learning about these weird things that make our society go round and round. Okay. I want you to join me in just getting here. Well, I need to get here right now, so just join me. So I want you to take a really deep breath, cleansing, and let it go. One more time. Okay. We are now changing our brain waves. We are now signaling to our body that we're entering into a state of relaxation. The only way to heal is through relaxation. So if you've ever tried to do a really tough stretch and you're like holding your breath because it's like, oh, there's no space and movement for that. So the same goes for these healings. Use your breath to move. Okay. Let's get started. Let me welcome in my healing master. Let me ground myself for this. Okay, lots of gold, green, and orange energy for this session. All right, bring your awareness to your Earth star right below your feet. The first thing that comes up as we're doing a session on the vagus nerve, on our ability to relax and receive, is digestion. This Earth star is really kind of held up tightly. And John Michael is saying if you're having trouble with digestion, keep it simple, right? It has a lot to do with which state your nervous system is in. If you can get relaxed before you eat, while you eat, after you eat, then it allows your body to digest. Because if you're not digesting, or if you're worrying, you're actually signaling to your body that you don't have enough energy or space to dedicate to digestion, which will make that food and that stuff ferment and stick around, causing inflammation. Hi. I actually heard something the other day that really resonated for me. I don't know the science or truth behind it even, but it felt right. It was just, this guy was saying that our body, he doesn't really believe there's any such thing as like fat or overweight. And what he thinks it is because our body intuitively knows what to do with excess. It would want to just pass it through undigested. But he's saying that what happens is, because we're so stressed out all the time in varying degrees, anxiety, fear, that we're just not digesting our food. And so it's sitting around causing bloat, causing stuck, IBS, all that kind of Crohn's and stuff. So I thought that was interesting to contemplate at the very least. See, you guys can see my dog over there. He's so peaceful. So when I've been working on clients recently, there's been a few themes coming up for everyone. Collectively tired, collectively being forced to examine parts of ourselves that make us wildly uncomfortable. And also like a dulling of the clairvoyance. And a lot of that has to do with the astrological season that we're in. There's a lot of retrogrades happening. Neptune is being challenged by Mercury. There it is. But John Michael just wants to say that anytime you are uncomfortable with yourself. And if you're uncomfortable with yourself, you're resisting a part of yourself. There's no point to that. You're at the space in your life, if you're watching this or you will be watching this, where you are being called to a different vibration. And that vibration is there's love for every part of you. There's love for the ego. There's love for the insecurities. There's love for the fear. There's love for the hate. So any part of you that's coming up that's making you wildly uncomfortable to sit with, just know that it's asking for you to examine it and hold space for it. Not to change it, not to resist it. Mm-hmm. Now we're charging your Earth Star, but the vagus nerve is already chatting, and it's talking a lot about safety. When you are doing a lot of spiritual work, spiritual healing, you're getting excited for all the manifestations, you start to notice lots of changes coming in your life, or you can feel like a lot of changes are coming through. Guess what happens? It's very common for your ego to get louder. And I see the ego as a function of the nervous system because it's really trying to protect you from things that it does not understand. So if you're welcoming in a bunch of new energy, opportunity, and people into your life, your ego will be like, are you sure? You're probably not cute enough for that. You should probably lose some weight and you're not good enough. Like it will start to try to hold you back because there's no programming that says how it should function with newness. So what we do is we just say, oh, that sounds like fear. That sounds like Mary Lisa's nervous system is trying to get her to stay small. Sounds like she's trying to protect herself. And we take a deep breath. Mm-hmm. So I want you to think how you deal with stress. Do you fight it? Do you like freeze up in stressful situations, or do you run away from stressful situations? Fight, flight, freeze. And I think there's one that they call fawn now. But basically that's the imprint that we're working on adjusting in your vagus nerve. And it's amazing because we talk about the tone of muscles, the tone of nerves. There's even a lot of talk around vagal tone. Tone, it responds to vibration and frequency. It responds to humming. It responds to singing, to shouting no, to exclaiming yes. Like your vagus nerve is directly connected and starts along not only your voice box and your larynx, but this tone carries out throughout your whole body and wraps around all of your organs. So if we can change it from fight, flight, freeze to something more flexible and adjustable, your body will naturally know when it's safe to digest or when it needs to give you that pop of adrenaline or cortisol. One moment. Sorry, that sound sucks. There we go. Can you hear how this tone is more clear? Let's do it again just to make sure. Beautiful. So now I want you to imagine that I'm sending this tone, this frequency, up from your Earth star, climbs all along your spine, out your head, and flows down around you, fountains down around you in a 360-degree sphere. That's the outer layer of your biofield, your aura. Thank you. Okay. So we're doing some adjustment to the outer layer of your biofield, which is also the 7th layer of your aura. There's a little bit of white clouding around it. And this is how the world sees you. So we're actually clearing up the way the world sees you right now. Good. Notice what you feel in your body. Where do you feel sensation? I feel something at the corner of my jaw, at the back of my left shoulder, and at my REN 15 through 17. Okay. Good. Nice and clear. All right, so now we're moving to your sun star right above your head. We will adjust it, charge it, and then clear it. This is 174. Okay, so the sun star has met a little cap, which is collectively something that we're experiencing. So as I adjust it, the message here is that, and I feel like this might trigger some people, so just be open. There's 144 sides to truth. So there's still an aspect to us, those of us that are watching, my dog's snoring, that want evidence, that want proof. And you're here in this very moment with me because your guides and your higher self is calling you to accept the fact that your intuition is all the proof that you need. And your truth can absolutely be different from someone else's truth. Some might say that there's a difference between lowercase t truth and capital T truth. However, I do think it's important to recognize that if you receive a message that says, oh, there's this, like in the class that I'm going to be teaching in September, we talk a lot about which organs hold on to which emotional patterns, which body parts and all this stuff. And someone will be like, I'll be like, oh yeah, sadness is held in the left shoulder. And they'll say, well, I kind of was thinking maybe, anger or something would live there. And it's like, well, yeah, if your body is storing anger there, then I would trust your instinct, right? Everything can be a generalization and things are different for each person. So trusting your intuition more is all that your sun star is trying to say. The information you're receiving is divinated. It's coming to your being for a reason. not to try and prove someone else wrong or not to try and prove yourself right. Get closer to your guides. Get closer to your guides, so much so that your belief becomes knowledge. And I'm asking John Michael, I'm like, why did that come through? What does that have to do with the vagus nerve? And he's saying that the vagus nerve, when it gets all healed up and is functioning beautifully, properly, strongly, it intuitively knows when to give you that adrenaline or when to allow you to start digesting and resting. It's learning about trusting your body, trusting your instincts, and not having to prove anything like, oh, I'm having a tummy ache right now. I think that I'm going to stay home, and not questioning it, right? Listening to your body's messages, because you're picking up on etheric information 24/7. All right, sending this down your descending channel, out your feet, and back through. Okay. Just adjusting your grounding cord. For clarity. Clarity of self, clarity of desires. Okay. All right, now I'm going to be working on the vagus nerve as a whole. I started with the 174 on my client this morning, and it proved to be a little bit too difficult, but we'll see if we need to make adjustments from there. So immediately we're removing some self-neglect. There's a pattern within us collectively where we ignore our instinct and our intuition. And it does get kind of cloudy because you don't want to never push yourself past your comfort zone, especially if it's your ego. You know, it's a line for you to discover, but I've found that within myself and the students in the courses that I've taught so far is that cleaning yourself up of triggers so that you can truly trust the instinct and know that it's not completely shaded by the past or by heuristics or by what the ego is trying to dictate. Because if 10 years ago, Mary Lisa, you would have said that, I was going to start a business or make friends or have relationships with these kinds of people, the current shade of glasses or nervous system that I was looking through would have probably prevented a lot of that stuff. Okay, so another pattern that we're coming across right now that we're trying to smooth out is the addiction to making things hard on ourselves. If you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, he has put out a lot of good information on how when you run the same thoughts and emotions over and over again, you tone the cells in your body to need that specific mix of chemicals in order to be activated. So if I'm late over and over again to work, then I will start to create conditions to where I'm late over and over again to work so that those cells can be activated. It's like an addiction to that chemical cocktail. So when I try to do things or go earlier, there's a lot of subconscious and environmental resistance to that change. Do you see how the spirit and the science like really are all just talking about the same thing? What we want to do is clean up those emotional patterns, those triggers. So a lot of the times the body throws out what I like to call red herrings. If you're familiar with the literary term, it just means like distractions. Like if you were going to rob a bank, you might start a fire down the street so that everyone's distracted. That's what's happening right now. So just notice what you're noticing, where you, like I'm having a sharp sensation in my left shoulder. Just notice where those red herrings are trying to distract you from the actual story. And let me see if I can articulate the actual story as it develops. Basically, anxiety, fear, separation, they're all stories to try to give us more control. That's what our nervous system and our ego wants. They want more control so that they can keep us safe. If we can control circumstances, then we can dictate the outcome. However, we end up chasing our tails because there's no control over circumstance. There's only control over energy, thought, and emotion. Those all originate from within us. However, when we're young and as a collective vibration, we start to get really addicted to egocentric thought patterns. And I'll be really clear that egocentric doesn't mean like thinking like, oh, I'm the shit, whatever. It means distraction about self. It's becoming overly involved in this self and identity, and it ends up getting so dense that spirit gets pushed out and there's not enough balance between spirit and body anymore. So if we actually just let go and gave space and conditioned our nervous system to be our tool, our ego to be our tool, rather than running the ship, we would have a lot more power rather than control. Yeah, it's like blame game. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much during this session, but there's just a lot of information coming through. So let's say something happened when you were young that really encoded into your vagus nerve about safety, fight, or flight. And that became a mode you activated over and over again. It became a pattern, a thread. what it does is it helps you place blame. I'm to blame. I'm the victim. They're to blame. They're the perpetrator. It gives you a sense of storytelling rather than the idea that sometimes is a bit more harder to digest. Mm. And that idea that's harder to digest is that there is no blame. There's no blame for you. There's no blame for the other person. Yeah, there we go. There's some resistance to that statement, but it is shaking and elevating to match that vibration. Yeah, I do feel like there's some things that I don't like to say on the World Wide Web, but this community is full of kind, aware, questioning, free thinking individuals. We're really lucky. Yeah. So the other thing that's coming up is your body is really lucky to have you. Because you're asking for more spirit to come into body, and you're making like a renegotiation contract rather than just being full of three-dimensional. You're allowing some of that fifth and even sixth dimension to kind of come back into your space. You're becoming more aware of your consciousness. And where do we go? As you do that, the card that came up was the alchemator. I don't even know if that's a word, but someone who does alchemy. Kind of like the Emperor card, not really. Maybe more the Magician. But it's like when your body isn't using all of its energy to be in this like elevated like nervous system, like bing, 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 where are we going? Hyper focus, ADHD, all this stuff. Then it actually has so much more energy for you to use toward your abilities, your spiritual gifts. No. What are you noticing in your body right now? Okay, we're currently removing some patterns of victimhood from around your heart. John Michael is highlighting that we often, and I'm guilty of this too, set up emotional situations like almost like traps. Like we set up emotional situations to get a certain outcome, and then we're like, see, all men are the same, all women act the same. I already knew my mom was going to do that. Like, and that's an expired patterning for you. That's a limitation patterning for you. The more elevated, feel better thing for you to do is to, let's see. To give yourself that love. Instead of setting people up to continue the same emotional love and trust patterns that have harmed you in the past. So we're just filtering through that right now. Let's see how close we are. Yeah. Okay, now again, we're filtering through some emotional patterns of trying to prove ourselves, trying to show people how worthy and how smart and we're doing okay. Look at us go. Okay, we're clearing that pattern from your digestive system. Yeah, so that's good. Someone in the comments said, I'm trying to relax, not sure what I notice. Oftentimes, coming back into the body can be a whole different experience. You may not notice right away what you feel inside the body if you spend a lot of time outside of the body. So bringing your consciousness back in, you might start to notice things like tingling in your feet, heat on your hands, a sense of an emotion like peace, or some people call it numbness because they're unfamiliar with peace. Or you might notice an emotion kind of wave up and through. Just the more you practice by asking yourself, what do I feel? What do I sense? You are actually increasing your intuitive abilities. So good job, everyone. Okay, so there's a pattern here that your vagus nerve is allowing us or asking us to focus on. And it's as we clear out this pattern in this digestion is about like moving and digesting energies, right? And so many of us have issues with digestion because we don't allow things to leave our life. We struggle and we hold on and we try to force things to stay. Allow people, ideas, thoughts, patterns, just allow everything to flow, trusting that it is for your best interest. If your body's trying to move it, if your life is trying to get rid of it, it's probably your higher self trying to make way for something way better. I feel and sense hope. Good job, Lisa. Good job. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you in on a little of one of my programmings that tend to get stuck is responsibility. Over and over again, I have like a pinched kind of nerve in my back left scapula. And I know that it's about feeling responsible for other people, feeling responsible about the emotional state of this world. I carry it like a backpack. And that is what I'm sensing right now, is that it's thumping. It's trying to open up more space. It's trying to express itself. because you guys might relate to this, but if I let go of my identity, like this healer helper, who am I really? If I let go of this pain that I'm holding on to that says I have to be responsible for everyone and everything, then what would I be? I'd be free floating. And that can feel quite dangerous sometimes to the nervous system. So just allow these stories to come through. Start reading yourself. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We're letting go of a lot of electricity in our pelvic floor right now. So this idea, the throat and the pelvic and the like womb space, so in between the sacral and root, are extremely connected. They have to do with safety and expression. So if at the base of you, you don't feel safe to express who you are and be yourself, then it will cause a whole lot of problems up in here, your thyroid, your jaw, just loads of tension, loads of resisting your actual truth, your actual self, your actual safety. As always, pay attention. If your body's asking you to move or to tone, like I just did, please do so. Your body will tell you how it wants to move energy. So as I'm trying to strengthen your nervous system as a whole, your vagus nerve included, we were able to, like, let's say the health overall was 5 when we first started. We got it to 7, and I'm asking John Michael, well, how come we can't move it up higher? You know, like, what if they just like left here feeling super blessed? Like, and he's saying that we're holding on to a few stories that are in the way of us achieving that vibrational state. So it might take more sessions like this, more tries, more listening, more work on your own. But this idea that we're owning ideas about our nervous system that don't agree with that, like our higher self doesn't agree with. So some of them are that it's hard to heal, that the world is unsafe, men are violent, capitalism is stressful. There's lots of stories, right? So you can keep those stories if you want to, or I encourage you to let them, see if any of them are ready to be dropped down your grounding cord. The more of those stories that your higher self does not agree with, that you can drop down your grounding cord, the more free you will be to accessing higher vibrational states. You'll start to notice the goosebumps, right? And that's the increase in brain matter. That's the recoding of your spirit and body together. So what stories are you willing to let go of that are in the way, that are making you resistant? Just notice. I'll try to go into that a little bit towards the end, Lisa. It's a deep question. Okay, ready? All right, pouring it all into your vagus nerve. So a lot of this is inherited patterning as well. So I'm getting kind of stuck at the top of the field. So that means to me that a lot of this programming has been predeterminedly activated and can also be deactivated. Like we can carry the gene for diabetes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be expressed. The same too goes for the way our nervous system holds itself. There we go. Okay, let me just take a seat and I'll examine it just one more time. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna wrap you up. Stick around if you have questions or to leave comments and connect. Having my energy from you. Yours from me. Matching pictures. Karma. Okay, and a golden sun for everyone. Okay, yay! Thank you, everyone. I hope you're feeling relaxed. I hope you're feeling rejuvenated. Go take a nap if you need to. Don't forget to explore the Module 1 in the Intuitive Development course, learning how to channel energy, learning how to protect your energy. That's all covered in Module 1, so that you can join us in Module 2, which starts September 11th, and you'll get to meet your healing master, your Akashic record keeper, and we will go over all the different emotional patterns that are kept in the different body parts, the different organs. So I'm really excited for that. There are payment plans available through PayPal and Afterpay. So it's readily available for everyone. And I'm really excited to meet more of you that way. Okay, so Lisa says, what feeling emotions are associated with the sacral being blocked? So the sacral chakra is about our sexuality, our creativity. It's about whether or not we are pursuing our passions and our pleasures. We can only pursue our passions and our pleasures if we feel safe, right? It's building off of the root. Oftentimes, what I notice is that we have a lot of stuck energy from relationships in the sacral chakra. They are undigested, they are unfulfilled, they are coding our analyzer as well. They're making us make decisions about who we are based on other people's energy. So a lot of the problems that we have result from basically us absorbing someone else's energy and then thinking it's ours and trying to run it through our system. Our higher self says, ugh, gross, no, that's not going to work for you. So pain is a great example of when you're probably running someone else's energy. Confusion, dis-ease, disharmony, or you feel like obstacles are continually in your way. It's probably because you were running someone else's energy pattern. So shame and guilt, frustration and disappointment in that sacral chakra. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Bailey. Good to see you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? I love connecting with you guys this way. I'll try to have more Zoom calls. I'll schedule a money healing session for next week. So head on to the website and click on the money healing tab and register for that. Because I do like seeing your guys' faces. I like interacting like that more so. But okay, I guess that's it. Don't forget to join this channel's perks below. I think it's like $2.99. I'm trying to go ad free, so it really helps that you just donate $2 a month to these free videos. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate you being here and building this amazing community. And I will see you later.